Hello, friend. Welcome to Science for Sleep. At some point, you may have noticed that you don't move through the world the same way everyone else seems to. Large social gatherings might feel exhausting, even when nothing goes wrong. You may enjoy people, but feel drained afterward. You might look forward to plans, then feel an immediate sense of relief when they're cancelled. After a long day of talking, noise, or interaction, you may crave silence in a way that feels necessary, not optional. For many listening, this recognition is immediate. You've felt it more than once. You've probably felt it your whole life. You may prefer one-on-one conversations instead of groups. You may think more than you speak. You may feel most like yourself when you're alone with your thoughts, your routines, or familiar surroundings. And when the world gets loud or busy, your energy seems to disappear faster than it does for others. If this sounds familiar, it's not a coincidence. Tonight, we're exploring how someone becomes an introvert, not as a label, not as a personality type, but as a pattern that forms slowly, through the way the body and nervous system learn to manage the world. You didn't wake up one day this way, and you didn't arrive here by mistake. Psychological science shows that personality traits develop through repeated experiences that shape how the nervous system regulates itself. Over time, the body learns what feels manageable and what feels overwhelming. It remembers which environments restore energy and which ones quietly drain it. Some people's nervous systems respond more strongly to stimulation. Noise, social interaction, movement, and constant engagement register quickly and intensely. This doesn't mean fear or anxiety. It means the system reaches its limit sooner. When that happens, recovery comes from reducing input. Quiet helps. Familiar spaces help. Being alone helps. Over years of repetition, the body begins to favor these states automatically. Not because of preference in the conscious mind, but because balance returns more reliably there. This is how introversion often forms. As a practical solution, as a way of maintaining equilibrium. If you've ever wondered why being alone feels restorative instead of lonely, this is part of the answer. If you've noticed that too much interaction leaves you depleted, even when it's positive, this explains why. And if you felt different without knowing how to name it, you're not alone in that experience. If you enjoy these quiet journeys, you're welcome to subscribe. And if it feels natural, to leave a comment sharing where you're listening from tonight. It helps others find their way to this calm corner of the world, one sleepy traveler at a time. The quiet continues here, just as it is. Introversion isn't something that needs fixing. It isn't a flaw in social ability. It's a natural outcome of how certain nervous systems manage energy and stimulation. Many people spend years believing they should be different, more outgoing, more energized, less affected. But the truth is quieter than that. The traits you recognize in yourself didn't appear randomly. They were shaped slowly through experience, regulation, and learning. And they often reflect a system that knows how to take care of itself. That understanding is where this exploration begins. I'm glad you're here. After noticing these patterns, many people begin to assume they must have learned them from experience alone. That time and exposure slowly shape their preferences. And while experience does matter, it is not the whole story. some differences are present much earlier. From infancy onward, nervous systems vary in how strongly they respond to the world. Some register change immediately. Some react more gradually. Some remain alert even in quiet conditions. This variation is known in psychology as temperament. It describes the baseline way a nervous system responds before learning, habit, or personality language enters the picture. For some people, the world arrives more vividly. Sound feels louder. Movement draws attention faster. Social interaction carries more intensity, even when it is positive. This does not mean discomfort. It means responsiveness. Research in developmental psychology has shown that individuals who later identify as introverted often display higher sensitivity to stimulation early in life. Their nervous systems activate more readily. Their attention engages quickly. Their baseline level of alertness is slightly higher, even at rest. Because of this, less input is required to reach a state of saturation. A calm room may already feel full. A short interaction may already feel complete. What others experience as neutral or energizing may feel sufficient or even excessive. This difference often goes unnoticed at first. Children rarely have language for it. They simply respond. Some pull back sooner. Some seek quieter play. Some observe longer before joining in. Some need breaks that others don't. None of this is intentional. The nervous system is not making a choice. It is responding to how much stimulation it can process comfortably. As life continues, these differences persist. School introduces noise, structure, and social demand. Adolescence adds emotional intensity and constant evaluation. Adulthood brings sustained interaction, responsibility, and expectation. Through all of this, temperament remains present. For individuals with more responsive systems, each layer adds load more quickly. Not because they are less capable, but because their baseline is already closer to capacity. This is why introversion often does not feel dramatic. There is no clear moment of withdrawal, no obvious distress. Instead, there is a steady preference for environments that allow regulation to happen smoothly. You may have noticed this in yourself, feeling more at ease in familiar settings, needing recovery after stimulation, even when it was enjoyable, feeling mentally sharpest when interruptions are minimal. These are not habits that need correction. They are expressions of temperament meeting environment. Neuroscience supports this understanding. Studies have shown that introverted nervous systems often display higher cortical activity at rest. This means the brain is already engaged without needing additional stimulation. When more input is added, the system must work harder to maintain balance. Over time, the body learns this relationship intuitively. It learns that less stimulation leads to greater clarity, that quiet supports steadiness, that regulation happens more efficiently when demands are reduced. This learning does not happen through reasoning. It happens through repetition. Each time energy returns in calm, the pattern strengthens. Each time overload leads to fatigue, the system takes note. Eventually, this becomes preference. Not preference as opinion, preference as outcome. This is why introversion often feels consistent across different stages of life. Different jobs, different relationships, different environments. The details change, The pattern remains. Understanding temperament helps remove the idea that introversion is a reaction to failure or disappointment. It was not caused by social difficulty. It did not emerge because of avoidance. It emerged because a particular nervous system learned how to function best within the world it encountered. Some systems require more stimulation to feel engaged. Some require less. Neither is incomplete. They are calibrated differently. And when that calibration is respected, functioning becomes smoother, not smaller. This understanding sets the foundation for everything that follows. Not because it explains every experience, but because it shows that introversion did not begin as a limitation. It began as a difference in how much is enough. For many people, the world does not arrive gently. Sound layers over sound, conversations overlap, movement pulls attention in multiple directions at once. Even quiet spaces often carry background noise, expectation, or interruption. Some nervous systems absorb all of this without strain. Others register it more quickly. This difference is subtle, but it matters. If you're listening and recognizing yourself here, you may have noticed how fast input accumulates. A room can feel full before it looks full. A conversation can feel complete before it ends. After a certain point, new information stops adding interest and starts adding weight. This is not impatience. It is not intolerance. It is threshold. Psychological research shows that people differ in how much sensory and social input their nervous systems can process comfortably at one time. For some, the baseline level of stimulation is already relatively high. Their systems are active, alert, and responsive, even in calm conditions. When additional input arrives, it stacks quickly. Noise becomes tiring faster. Social interaction requires more energy. Constant engagement pushes the system toward overload sooner than it does for others. This doesn't mean distress appears immediately. Often, everything still feels fine on the surface. The body continues to participate. Conversation continues. Attention stays present. But beneath that, effort is increasing. Many people recognize this moment, the point where enthusiasm quietly fades, where words require more energy to find, where listening becomes work instead of interest. Nothing has gone wrong. The system has simply reached capacity. Cognitive science refers to this as load. When sensory, emotional, and social information arrive faster than they can be processed, the brain begins prioritizing regulation over engagement. Attention narrows. Energy conservation begins. For individuals with lower input thresholds, this shift happens earlier. That's why overstimulation doesn't always feel dramatic. Often, it feels dull, flat, draining. You may have experienced this after long days of interaction, after too many conversations, after environments where there was no place for mental rest. And when the input finally stops, something noticeable happens. The body exhales, the chest loosens, thoughts feel less crowded. Energy begins to return, not through excitement, but through absence. This response teaches the nervous system something important. It learns that reduced input restores balance, that quiet allows recovery, that stillness is efficient. Over time, this learning becomes automatic. The system begins to anticipate overload and steer toward lower stimulation before it occurs. It favors familiar spaces, predictable routines, smaller social settings, not out of fear, but out of accuracy. For many people, this accuracy has been present since childhood, needing breaks during play, preferring one close friend over many, feeling overwhelmed in chaotic environments without knowing why. For others, it became clearer later in life, as responsibilities increased, as schedules filled, as constant availability became expected. Either way, the pattern is consistent. When stimulation decreases, balance returns. When stimulation increases beyond threshold, energy drains. This is not avoidance behavior. It is regulation. The nervous system is not trying to escape the world. It is trying to function within it without strain. Understanding this reframes introversion in an important way. It shifts the story from personality flaw to processing style, from social weakness to sensory precision. For those listening who have felt this pattern repeat again and again, the explanation doesn't need to be dramatic to be meaningful. It simply names what has already been happening. Some systems thrive with more input, some thrive with less. Neither is better. They are tuned differently. And for the systems that reach saturation earlier, honoring that threshold is not limitation. It is how balance is maintained. This understanding doesn't change who someone is. It explains why certain choices feel natural, why quiet restores, why excess drains, and why, for many, introversion is not something that developed randomly, but something that emerged because the body learned exactly how much was enough. As these patterns continue, many people begin to notice something specific about social interaction. Not whether they like it, but what it costs. For some, being around others generates energy. Conversation sharpens attention. Activity creates momentum. Stimulation feels activating rather than draining. For others, the equation works differently. Social interaction still holds meaning. Connection still matters. But the exchange requires effort, even when it is enjoyable. This difference is often misunderstood as preference or attitude. In reality, it is metabolic. Social interaction places demands on multiple systems at once. Attention must remain engaged. Emotional cues must be tracked. Speech must be timed. Responses must be regulated. All of this requires energy. Cognitive neuroscience shows that sustained social engagement increases metabolic activity in the brain. Glucose consumption rises. Attentional networks stay active. Self-regulation remains online. For nervous systems that already operate at a higher baseline level of activation, this additional demand accumulates faster. This is why social exhaustion can appear even after positive experiences, even after conversations that felt meaningful, even after time spent with people who are liked and trusted. Nothing went wrong. Energy was simply spent. Many people recognize this pattern clearly, feeling mentally tired rather than emotionally upset, wanting quiet, not distance, needing rest without needing explanation. This is the economics of energy. For introverted systems, energy is often generated in low stimulation states. Silence allows processing to settle. Familiarity reduces demand. Being alone removes the need for continuous regulation. In these conditions, the nervous system replenishes. This does not mean social interaction is harmful. It means it is not the source of restoration. Over time, the body learns this exchange rate intuitively. It learns how long it can stay engaged before depletion begins. It learns when attention starts to thin. It learns how much recovery is required afterward. These calculations happen quietly, without conscious tracking, without deliberate choice. They simply become part of how the system operates. This is why introverted individuals often pace themselves socially, not because they lack interest, but because they understand at a bodily level what sustainability requires. Research supports this distinction. Studies show that introversion is associated with different patterns of reward processing and arousal regulation. Social stimulation does not activate the same energizing pathways for every nervous system. For some, it increases effort rather than replenishment. This is also why solitude feels different from isolation. Isolation is the absence of connection when it is needed. Solitude is the presence of conditions that allow recovery. For introverted systems, solitude restores resources that social interaction consumes. Recognizing this reframes many past experiences. The need to leave early, the desire for fewer plans, the relief of cancelled commitments. These moments were not signs of disinterest or weakness. They were signs of accurate self-regulation. The nervous system was managing its energy responsibly. When this understanding is absent, people often push past their limits. They stay engaged longer than is sustainable. They override fatigue. They dismiss the signals their bodies are sending. The result is not growth. It is depletion. When this understanding is present, choices become gentler. Engagement becomes intentional. Recovery is respected. This does not make life smaller. It makes it more stable. Introversion, viewed through this lens, is not a social deficit. It is an energy strategy, a way the body has learned to allocate its resources carefully so that attention, presence, and clarity remain intact. Some systems spend energy outward and recover through stimulation. Some spend energy inward and recover through quiet. Both are valid. Both are functional. They simply follow different economic rules. And for the systems that recover best in stillness, honoring that economy is not withdrawal. It is wisdom. Once the nervous system learns how energy is spent, it also learns how that energy returns. For many people, recovery does not arrive through stimulation. It does not come from adding more conversation, more activity, or more engagement. Instead, it emerges when demand decreases. This preference often becomes noticeable only after depletion has already occurred. After long stretches of interaction, after hours of attention, responsiveness, and social presence, after days where the world asked for more than it gave back. When the input finally softens, the change is immediate. The body begins to settle. Breathing deepens without effort. Muscle tension eases. The sense of internal pressure begins to lift. Thoughts slow, not because attention fades, but because it no longer has to track so much at once. This shift is not boredom. It is not disengagement. It is recovery. Neuroscience offers a clear explanation for this process. The nervous system operates through two primary modes of regulation: The sympathetic system supports alertness, readiness, and outward engagement. The parasympathetic system supports rest, restoration, and internal balance. Sustained stimulation keeps the sympathetic system active. Conversation, noise, emotional processing, and social cues all require this state to remain engaged. Even when the experience is positive, the system stays online. For individuals whose baseline activation is already relatively high, this state becomes costly over time. As stimulation decreases, parasympathetic activity increases. Heart rate slows. Energy expenditure drops. The body shifts toward conservation rather than output. For introverted nervous systems, this shift happens most completely in low-demand environments. Silence removes the need to listen. Solitude removes the need to respond. Familiar surroundings reduce unpredictability. Together, these conditions allow the system to stand down. This is why recovery often feels incomplete when stimulation lingers. Background noise keeps attention partially engaged. Passive interaction still requires monitoring. Even quiet social presence can prevent full restoration. The nervous system remains on alert. True recovery requires a deeper reduction. Many people recognize this pattern clearly, feeling restless or tired despite resting around others, needing time alone before sleep, finding that energy only returns once expectations disappear entirely. These are not preferences formed through habit. They are responses shaped by outcome. Over time, the body begins to remember what restores balance most efficiently. Each experience of relief reinforces the pattern. Each moment where quiet leads to clarity strengthens the association. Each instance where stimulation prolongs fatigue adds to the learning. This learning happens automatically, without conscious reflection, without deliberate choice. Eventually, recovery preference becomes predictable. The nervous system begins to anticipate depletion before it fully arrives. It signals the need for reduced input earlier. It favors lower demand states proactively rather than reactively. This is why many introverted individuals appear to pace themselves naturally, choosing shorter interactions, structuring days with built-in quiet, ending social time before exhaustion sets in. These choices are often misinterpreted as avoidance. In reality, they are maintenance. Research supports this distinction. Studies show that individuals who recover most effectively through low stimulation demonstrate more stable attention over time. They experience fewer cognitive lapses. They maintain clarity by preventing chronic overload. When recovery is ignored, the consequences accumulate slowly. Fatigue deepens, irritability increases, focus becomes harder to sustain, motivation begins to wane. Not because the person lacks resilience, but because the system has been asked to operate without sufficient restoration. When recovery is respected, the opposite occurs. Energy stabilizes, attention sharpens, emotional regulation becomes easier, presence feels sustainable rather than forced. This difference shapes daily life in subtle, consistent ways. Preferring quiet mornings or evenings, needing space after interaction, feeling most grounded when routines are predictable and environments are calm. These patterns are not restrictive. They are supportive. For many introverted individuals, solitude is not something they seek because they lack connection. It is something they return to because it works. This distinction is important. Loneliness is the absence of connection when it is needed. Solitude is the presence of conditions that allow recovery. The two are not the same. When solitude is chosen, the nervous system relaxes. When solitude is forced, distress appears. Introverted recovery preference belongs to the first category. It explains why alone time feels nourishing rather than empty, why silence restores instead of depletes, why balance returns without effort once stimulation fades. The body does not require justification for this response. It responds to results. If quiet brings steadiness, quiet becomes valuable. If reduced demand restores energy, reduced demand becomes preferred. This is not something that needs correction. There is no universal method of recovery. Some systems restore through activity and engagement. Some restore through stillness and reduction. Both are valid. Both are functional. They simply rely on different regulatory pathways. For those whose balance returns in quiet, honoring that preference is not indulgence. It is alignment. And when that alignment is respected, the nervous system remains steady enough to engage fully when it matters most. This is how recovery preference becomes part of who someone is. Not as a personality trait chosen at random, but as a physiological truth learned slowly, reinforced repeatedly, and carried forward because it works. As recovery patterns settle into place, another difference often becomes noticeable. Not in how much someone enjoys life, but in how stimulation registers as reward. Many people assume that energy and motivation rise automatically with excitement. That novelty creates momentum. That more stimulation produces more engagement. For some nervous systems, this is true. For others, the relationship is more selective. This difference is closely tied to dopamine, a neurotransmitter involved in motivation, reward, and attention. Dopamine helps the brain decide what is worth pursuing. It signals interest. It amplifies novelty. It supports sustained effort towards something perceived as rewarding. But dopamine does not respond the same way in every nervous system. Research in neuroscience has shown that introverted patterns are often associated with higher baseline dopaminergic sensitivity. This means that reward pathways activate more readily. Less stimulation is required to trigger engagement. Novelty registers strongly, sometimes immediately. Because of this, high-intensity stimulation does not always feel energizing. It can feel overwhelming. The signal arrives too quickly, too intensely. Instead of creating motivation, excess stimulation floods the system. This helps explain a common experience. For some people, excitement has a short half-life. New environments feel interesting at first, then exhausting. Fast-paced social situations feel stimulating briefly, then draining. Constant novelty becomes noise rather than fuel. This does not mean a lack of curiosity or drive. It means the reward system reaches saturation earlier. In these systems, dopamine does its job quickly. Interest sparks, attention engages, and then the signal completes. More input does not increase reward. It increases effort. For individuals with this pattern, motivation often comes from clarity rather than stimulation, from depth rather than speed, from sustained focus rather than constant novelty. This is why introverted individuals frequently show strong engagement with activities that allow immersion. Reading, problem solving, creative work, one-on-one conversation. These environments provide sufficient reward without excess demand. The reward signal remains steady instead of spiking. When stimulation exceeds this optimal range, the system begins to protect itself. Attention narrows. Energy drops. The desire to disengage appears. Not because interest has disappeared, but because the system has received enough signal. This dynamic often creates confusion. People may wonder why they lose motivation in busy environments, why excitement fades faster than expected, why high-energy settings feel tiring instead of inspiring. The answer is not disinterest, it is calibration. The nervous system is tuned to a narrower reward window. Within that window, engagement is deep and sustained. Outside of it, effort increases without benefit. This also explains why quiet environments often feel more motivating than loud ones. Reduced stimulation lowers background noise in the reward system. Dopamine signaling becomes clearer. Focus stabilizes. In these conditions, motivation does not need to compete with distraction. Neuroscience describes this as optimal arousal. Performance and engagement peak when stimulation is neither too low nor too high. For introverted nervous systems, that peak occurs at lower levels of input. When stimulation rises above that point, performance declines. This is not a flaw. It is a feature of how the system is organized. Over time, the body learns this relationship. It learns which environments support sustained interest, which activities feel rewarding without depletion, which settings allow motivation to remain steady. As with recovery preference, this learning happens without conscious effort. The system simply tracks outcomes. When focus feels good, the pattern strengthens. When excitement leads to fatigue, the system adapts. Eventually, this shapes behavior. Seeking quieter settings, choosing depth over variety, preferring fewer pursuits with greater meaning. These choices are often misread as low ambition or lack of drive. In reality, they reflect efficient motivation. The system conserves energy by engaging where reward is stable rather than volatile. This efficiency allows introverted individuals to sustain effort over long periods, to remain focused without burnout, to invest deeply without constant stimulation. When this pattern is misunderstood, people may push themselves toward environments that work against their reward system. They may chase excitement that does not satisfy. They may override signals of saturation. The result is not growth. It is exhaustion. When the pattern is understood, choices align naturally. Engagement becomes quieter but stronger. Motivation becomes steadier, not louder. Reward feels complete rather than fleeting. Dopamine sensitivity, viewed this way, is not about needing less joy. It is about requiring less intensity to feel fulfilled. The system does not need constant novelty to remain engaged. It needs the right amount. And when that amount is respected, interest deepens rather than fades. This is another way introversion forms. Not as withdrawal from reward, but as a preference for reward that is sustainable. A system tuned for depth, clarity, and long-range engagement rather than constant stimulation. Understanding this brings the picture into focus. Introversion is not the absence of motivation. It is motivation shaped by precision. And when that precision is honored, the system does exactly what it was designed to do. As these patterns repeat, the nervous system begins to learn from them. Not through conscious reflection, not through deliberate choice, but through outcome. Each time stimulation exceeds capacity, the body registers the cost. Each time energy drops too quickly. Each time clarity fades, attention thins, or fatigue settles in sooner than expected. Nothing dramatic needs to happen for this learning to occur. Often, everything still appears fine from the outside. Conversation continues. Tasks get completed. Social time ends politely. But internally, effort has increased. Cognitive and neurological research shows that nervous systems adapt based on repeated exposure. When a state consistently leads to strain, the system begins to associate it with depletion. When another state reliably restores balance, the system learns to favor it. This is how overstimulation becomes meaningful. For introverted nervous systems, high levels of input often lead to diminishing returns. Reward saturates. Energy drains. Recovery takes longer. Over time, the body begins to anticipate this pattern. It notices the early signs, the subtle tension, the mental crowding, the moment when engagement shifts into effort. These signals do not appear as fear. They appear as information. The system learns where the line is. This learning is protective. By responding earlier, the nervous system reduces the chance of overload. It begins to withdraw before exhaustion sets in. It steers toward quieter states before depletion becomes severe. From the outside, this can look like avoidance, but internally, it is regulation. Research in behavioral neuroscience shows that avoidance is not always driven by fear. It can be driven by efficiency. When a system learns that certain conditions consistently lead to fatigue, it minimizes exposure to preserve function. This is especially true for systems that process stimulation deeply. For many people, this learning begins early. Children who become overwhelmed in busy environments, who need breaks sooner than others, who gravitate towards solitary or low-noise activities. At the time, these preferences are rarely explained. They are simply expressed. As life becomes more complex, the same learning continues. School, work, and social expectations increase the amount of sustained input required. Noise becomes constant. Availability becomes assumed. Recovery time shrinks. For nervous systems with lower thresholds, the cost of overstimulation becomes clearer. Fatigue accumulates faster. Focus degrades sooner. Motivation wanes more quickly. The body responds by adjusting. It limits exposure where possible. It seeks predictability. It favors environments where stimulation is controllable. This adjustment does not happen because the system cannot handle the world. It happens because the system has learned how to handle it without damage. Overstimulation learning does not mean someone becomes less capable over time. Often, the opposite is true. By reducing unnecessary load, the system preserves resources for what matters. Attention remains sharper. Engagement becomes more intentional. Recovery becomes more complete. This is why introverted individuals often appear selective rather than withdrawn. They choose fewer interactions, but invest more fully in them. They limit input, not out of disinterest, but to maintain quality. The nervous system has learned that too much stimulation blunts experience rather than enhancing it. This learning also explains why some people feel relief when plans are cancelled, why quiet evenings feel restorative, why time alone resets something that social time depletes. The system is not escaping, it is recalibrating. Importantly, overstimulation learning does not lock someone into rigidity. It creates awareness. When stimulation is meaningful, contained, and aligned with interest, engagement still happens. When novelty serves purpose rather than volume, motivation remains intact. The difference is that the system no longer tolerates excess for its own sake. This is not fragility. It is refinement. Over time, the nervous system becomes more precise about where it invests energy. It avoids states that consistently drain without return. It favors conditions that allow balance to be maintained. This precision is often misunderstood. In cultures that reward constant output, responsiveness, and visibility, restraint can look like limitation. But from a biological perspective, it is intelligence. The system has learned its limits and respects them. Overstimulation learning is not about becoming smaller. It is about becoming accurate. Accurate about capacity. Accurate about recovery. Accurate about what sustains engagement over time. And for many introverted individuals, this learning is one of the quiet foundations of who they become. Not because they avoided the world, but because they learned how to remain whole within it. As the nervous system becomes more precise about where it spends energy, something else begins to take shape. Not a withdrawal from the world, but a different way of engaging with it. When overstimulation is reduced, resources stop being wasted. Attention is no longer scattered across competing demands. Effort is no longer spent simply staying regulated. What remains is capacity. This is where quiet competence often emerges. For many introverted individuals, competence does not announce itself loudly. It does not rely on constant output or visibility. It shows itself in steadiness, depth, and consistency. When stimulation stays within manageable limits, the nervous system can remain fully present. Focus sharpens. Memory stabilizes. Thoughts organize themselves without urgency. Cognitive science shows that sustained attention improves when cognitive load is reduced. When fewer inputs compete for processing, the brain can allocate resources more efficiently. Instead of switching rapidly between tasks, it settles into continuity. This is an environment where introverted systems often thrive. Work that requires concentration becomes easier to sustain. Complex ideas can be held in the mind without fragmentation. Subtle patterns are noticed rather than overlooked. Because energy is conserved, it can be invested deliberately. This is why many introverted individuals demonstrate strong problem-solving ability. They may take longer to respond, but their responses are often more complete. They may speak less, but what they offer tends to be considered carefully. This is not hesitation. It is processing. Quiet competence is built on depth rather than speed. Neuroscience supports this pattern. Lower levels of external stimulation allow prefrontal networks, responsible for planning and integration, to operate without interruption. Instead of reacting, the brain synthesizes. Instead of responding immediately, it evaluates. This internal space supports clarity. For many people, this competence was present long before it was recognized. The child who watched before joining, the student who understood deeply but spoke rarely, the adult who works steadily while others burn out. Often, these traits are overlooked because they do not demand attention. In environments that reward immediacy, quiet competence can appear invisible, but it is not inactive. It is working beneath the surface. Introverted nervous systems often excel at tasks that require sustained effort, rather than bursts of performance. Long-term projects, careful analysis, creative work that unfolds gradually. Because energy is not constantly drained by excess stimulation, it remains available over time. This creates reliability. When challenges arise, the system does not panic. It has reserves. It has experience operating without overload. This steadiness also affects emotional regulation. With fewer inputs competing for attention, emotional signals are easier to process. Reactions soften. Responses become measured rather than impulsive. This does not mean emotions are muted. It means they are integrated. Quiet competence often expresses itself as calm under pressure, as patience, as the ability to hold complexity without rushing toward resolution. These traits are frequently misunderstood. They may be mistaken for passivity, for lack of confidence, for disengagement. In reality, they reflect a nervous system that is not overwhelmed. When capacity is preserved, competence becomes visible through outcome rather than display. Tasks are completed thoroughly. Decisions are thoughtful. Relationships are tended with care. Because attention is not spread thin, it can be directed where it matters. Over time, this competence becomes self-reinforcing. Success arrives quietly. Work feels satisfying rather than draining. Engagement feels meaningful rather than performative. The system learns that operating within its limits does not reduce effectiveness. It enhances it. This understanding often arrives later in life. Many people spend years trying to match environments that do not suit their processing style. They push themselves toward constant interaction. They override their need for quiet. They mistake exhaustion for effort. When they finally align with conditions that support their nervous system, something changes. Clarity returns. Confidence grows. Performance improves without strain. This is not transformation. It is permission. Permission for the system to operate as designed. Quiet competence does not require explanation. It does not need validation from noise or visibility. It reveals itself through consistency, through work done well, through presence that feels grounded, through the absence of burnout. Understanding this reframes introversion once again. It is not a limitation on ability. It is a different pathway to effectiveness, a pathway that values precision over volume, stability over intensity, depth over display. When this competence is recognized, the story shifts. Introversion is no longer about what is avoided. It becomes about what is sustained. And in that sustainability, a quiet strength has been there all along. Once introversion is misunderstood at the individual level, that misunderstanding often widens. It becomes embedded in systems, in expectations, in what is praised, promoted, and rewarded. Many modern cultures, particularly Western ones, place a strong emphasis on output that can be seen. Speaking quickly is interpreted as thinking quickly. Visibility is taken as evidence of contribution. Engagement is measured by volume rather than substance. In these environments, expression becomes proof. The more someone talks, the more present they appear. The more they share outwardly, the more involved they seem. The more they display energy, the more capable they are assumed to be. This framework does not emerge accidentally. Social psychology research shows that Western cultures tend to favor expressive traits. Confidence is associated with assertiveness. Leadership is associated with visibility. Competence is often inferred from outward behavior rather than internal process. Within this structure, quiet traits are not necessarily criticized. They are simply overlooked. Depth is harder to measure than volume. Reflection is less visible than reaction. Sustained internal work does not announce itself. As a result, introverted functioning is often undervalued, not because it lacks merit, but because it does not conform to what is easily observed. This creates a subtle imbalance. People who operate quietly may contribute significantly without drawing attention to themselves. Their work may be thorough, precise, and stable, yet it may pass unnoticed in environments that reward immediacy. This bias reinforces earlier mislabeling. Silence continues to be read as absence. Stillness continues to be mistaken for disengagement. Selectivity continues to be interpreted as limitation. Over time, this cultural preference shapes behavior. People learn what is rewarded. They adapt to what is praised. They push themselves toward visibility, even when it comes at a cost. For introverted individuals, this pressure can create tension. They may feel required to perform energy rather than conserve it. To speak before processing is complete. To remain socially available beyond what is sustainable. The problem here is not introversion. The problem is mismatch. The system values one style of engagement and assumes it represents competence as a whole. Other styles become secondary by default. This bias is not usually intentional. It is structural. Many systems were built around environments where rapid communication and visible coordination were necessary. Over time, these traits became associated with effectiveness itself. But human nervous systems did not become uniform. Variation remained. Some systems function best through expression and stimulation. Some function best through observation and integration. When only one style is recognized, the other appears deficient. Yet research consistently shows that introversion does not predict poor performance. It does not indicate low intelligence. It does not imply reduced social skill. In many cases, introverted individuals excel in roles requiring focus, analysis, creativity, and long-term thinking. The difficulty is not capacity. It is visibility. Cultural bias toward output teaches people to doubt quiet functioning. It encourages comparison rather than calibration. it frames difference as deficit. This framing is powerful. People internalize it long before they question it. They may feel the need to justify their preferences. They may override their own regulatory needs to fit expectations. This leads to unnecessary strain, not because introversion is incompatible with success, but because success has been narrowly defined. When output is valued over depth, volume over precision, and speed over stability, quiet competence becomes harder to recognize. Yet it does not disappear. It continues operating beneath the surface. Work gets done. Problems are solved. Ideas are developed quietly, thoroughly, and carefully. The absence of display does not mean the absence of contribution. Understanding cultural bias toward output shifts responsibility outward. It clarifies that the tension introverted individuals feel is not a personal shortcoming. It is the result of operating in systems that privilege one style over others. This realization can be relieving. It allows preferences to be seen as contextual rather than flawed. It restores trust in internal signals. It reframes quiet as a valid mode of engagement. Introversion does not need to become louder to be legitimate. It needs environments that recognize multiple forms of competence. As this perspective settles, the story begins to change. Introversion stops being something to overcome. It becomes something to understand. And once understanding replaces judgment, the question shifts. Not how to be more visible, but how to be accurately valued. That shift sets the stage for the next layer of this exploration. Because beneath quiet behavior, there is often a rich and sustained internal world, actively engaged even when nothing outward is being shown. And that inner activity deserves recognition too. When visibility is treated as proof of engagement, quietness is often mistaken for emptiness. But for many introverted individuals, the opposite is true. Beneath stillness, activity continues. Thoughts move. Connections form. Ideas develop slowly, steadily, and often deeply. External quiet does not signal internal absence. It often signals internal concentration. Cognitive science has long recognized that mental activity does not require outward expression. The brain can remain highly engaged even when behavior is minimal. Attention, imagination, memory, and integration all operate internally, without needing to announce themselves. For many introverted nervous systems, this internal engagement is sustained and continuous. When stimulation is reduced, the mind does not shut down. It opens. Thoughts have room to unfold without interruption. Ideas are explored fully rather than briefly. Emotional experiences are processed instead of bypassed. This internal richness is easy to miss from the outside. Someone may appear quiet in a group while actively tracking conversation, tone, and meaning. They may speak rarely, yet think extensively. They may pause not because nothing is happening, but because something complex is underway. This pattern often begins early. Children who seem reserved are frequently deeply observant. They notice details others overlook. They spend time imagining, reflecting, and replaying experiences internally. These inner processes are not rehearsals for later expression. They are valuable in themselves. Neuroscience supports this distinction. Brain imaging studies show that internal cognition activates networks associated with self-reflection, memory consolidation, and long-range planning. These networks can remain active even when external behavior is minimal. Reduced outward behavior does not mean reduced neural activity. In fact, quieter environments often allow these internal networks to function more effectively. This is why introverted individuals often excel at integrating information over time. They connect ideas across contexts. They notice patterns that emerge gradually. They develop insights that are not immediately obvious. This richness is not flashy. It does not demand attention, but it is substantial. Because it unfolds internally, it does not compete for space. It does not interrupt. It does not require validation. It simply continues. This internal engagement also shapes emotional life. Feelings are experienced fully, then examined. Reactions are felt, then understood. Meaning is extracted slowly rather than immediately expressed. This depth can be mistaken for intensity or sensitivity. In reality, it reflects thorough processing. Introverted systems tend to integrate experience rather than skim it. When this richness is not recognized, people may feel pressure to externalize prematurely, to speak before clarity is formed, to perform engagement rather than allow it to mature. This pressure can disrupt the very processes that create depth. When internal space is protected, something different happens. Thoughts settle into coherence. Creativity becomes sustained rather than sporadic. Understanding deepens rather than fragments. This is why many introverted individuals describe feeling most alive in quiet moments. Not because nothing is happening, but because so much is. The absence of noise allows internal signals to be heard. Ideas surface that were previously drowned out. Emotional understanding arrives without force. This richness does not require constant output to be real. It exists whether or not it is displayed. Recognizing this changes the way introversion is understood. Quiet is no longer an empty space waiting to be filled. It is an active environment where cognition unfolds. Silence is not a pause between meaningful moments. It is often where meaning is formed. This reframing restores balance. It validates experiences that were previously invisible. It affirms that engagement does not need to look a certain way to count. It allows internal work to be valued alongside external action. Introversion, seen through this lens, is not a lack of expression. It is a different location of activity. The work happens inwardly first. Sometimes it stays there. Sometimes it emerges later, fully formed. Either way, it is real. And when this internal richness is acknowledged, the idea that introversion is lesser begins to dissolve. What looked like absence reveals itself as presence. Not loud, not performative, but sustained, meaningful, and quietly alive. This understanding prepares the ground for an important clarification. Because once inner activity is recognized, it becomes clear that introversion is not driven by fear or threat. It is driven by preference, regulation, and depth. And that distinction matters more than it may appear at first. Once internal richness is recognized, an important distinction becomes clearer. Introversion is often confused with anxiety, because both can involve quiet behavior, because both can include withdrawal from stimulation, because both may look similar on the surface. But beneath that surface, they are very different experiences. Anxiety is driven by threat. When anxiety is present, the nervous system is oriented toward danger detection. Attention scans for risk. The body prepares to protect itself. Heart rate increases, muscles tense, thoughts narrow around possible outcomes. This response is rooted in fear circuitry. The amygdala, a region involved in threat processing, becomes more active. Stress hormones rise. The system shifts into defense. Introversion does not require this state. An introverted individual may choose quiet without feeling unsafe. They may prefer solitude without fear of interaction. They may limit stimulation not because it is threatening, but because it is costly. The nervous system is calm. Regulation is intact. There is no urgency to escape. This distinction is subtle but critical. Anxious withdrawal feels tense. Introverted withdrawal feels relieving. One is driven by avoidance of harm. The other is driven by restoration of balance. Neuroscience supports this difference. Studies show that anxiety involves heightened activation of fear-related neural circuits. Introversion does not show this pattern by default. Instead, introverted nervous systems often display stable regulation in low stimulation environments. Quiet does not signal danger. It signals alignment. This explains why introverted individuals can enjoy social interaction without distress. They may feel comfortable and engaged while it happens. They may simply need recovery afterward. Anxiety, by contrast, often persists before, during, and after interaction. The system remains on alert even in safe conditions. Understanding this difference helps untangle many misconceptions. A person can be introverted without being anxious. A person can be anxious without being introverted. And a person can experience both independently. When these states are conflated, introversion is often treated as something to fix. People may be encouraged to push past their limits unnecessarily, to force engagement when the nervous system is already regulated, to ignore signals of depletion because they are mistaken for fear. This can create confusion. Introverted individuals may begin to doubt their own experiences. They may assume that their need for quiet means something is wrong. They may interpret calm preference as avoidance. Recognizing the distinction restores clarity. It allows quiet to be understood as choice rather than symptom. It separates preference from pathology. It places introversion back where it belongs, in the domain of regulation, not threat. This understanding also explains why introverted individuals often feel misunderstood when described as shy or anxious. They may not relate to fear-based explanations. They may not experience social situations as threatening. They may simply feel depleted afterward. When this difference is acknowledged, pressure eases. There is no need to overcome introversion. There is no need to desensitize the system. There is no threat to eliminate. There is only a preference to respect. Anxiety asks for safety. Introversion asks for sustainability. Both deserve care, but they are not the same. Clarifying this distinction helps remove stigma. It reframes quiet behavior as intentional rather than avoidant. It affirms that calm stillness is not a sign of fear. For many listening, this realization brings relief. It explains why they feel steady rather than anxious when alone. why silence feels grounding rather than isolating, why quiet restores instead of alarms. This clarity allows the narrative to continue unfolding accurately. Introversion is not driven by threat. It is guided by regulation. And when regulation is respected, the system functions smoothly, efficiently, and without strain. This brings the focus back to energy, because once fear is ruled out, what remains is efficiency, how energy is preserved, how effort is allocated, how the system avoids waste. That is where the next part of this story leads, toward understanding introversion, not as limitation, but as a form of conservation. And that perspective changes everything. Once fear is removed from the picture, what remains is efficiency. Introversion is not driven by avoidance. It is guided by conservation. Every nervous system has a limited amount of energy available for attention, regulation, and engagement. How that energy is spent determines how stable the system feels over time. For introverted nervous systems, energy is used quickly when stimulation is high. Social interaction, noise, constant responsiveness, and emotional tracking all draw from the same reserve. When these demands accumulate, the cost becomes noticeable, not as panic, but as fatigue. Cognitive science shows that sustained stimulation increases cognitive load. The brain must allocate resources continuously to filter information, regulate response, and maintain focus. When this load remains high for long periods, efficiency declines. Energy conservation helps prevent this decline. By limiting unnecessary input, the nervous system reduces waste. By choosing lower stimulation environments, it preserves resources. By pacing engagement, it maintains clarity. This is not about doing less. It is about doing what matters without excess. In biological terms, conservation supports long-term regulation. When energy expenditure remains balanced, attention stays stable. Emotional responses remain proportionate. Recovery happens naturally instead of being forced. Chronic overstimulation disrupts this balance. Research shows that prolonged cognitive overload increases fatigue, irritability, and reduced executive function. Decision-making becomes harder. Motivation drops. Restoration takes longer. For systems with lower stimulation thresholds, these effects appear sooner. Energy conservation becomes protective. This is why introverted individuals often simplify their environments, reducing noise, limiting commitments, creating routines that minimize unpredictability. These choices are not restrictive, they are strategic. By lowering background demand, the nervous system frees energy for focused engagement. Attention becomes available rather than fragmented. Effort can be directed rather than scattered. This efficiency often shows up as consistency. Work is completed steadily rather than in bursts. Presence is sustained rather than forced. Engagement feels manageable rather than draining. In contrast, when energy conservation is ignored, strain accumulates quietly. People may remain functional while becoming exhausted. They may appear capable while feeling depleted. They may push through fatigue until regulation breaks down. This is not resilience. It is attrition. Energy conservation prevents this slow erosion. It allows the nervous system to operate within its optimal range. It supports endurance rather than intensity. This is why introverted individuals often excel in roles that require long-term focus. They are not spending energy on constant regulation. They are not compensating for overload. Their systems remain available. This conservation also supports emotional balance. When energy is preserved, emotions are easier to process. Reactions soften. Clarity returns more quickly after disruption. The system does not become overwhelmed easily because it is not constantly near its limit. Seen this way, introversion becomes an adaptive strategy, a way of managing resources intelligently, a method of maintaining function without waste. Some systems thrive by spending energy outwardly and replenishing through stimulation. Others thrive by conserving energy and replenishing through quiet. Neither approach is superior. They are simply different responses to capacity. Understanding introversion as energy conservation reframes many past experiences. The need for downtime, the preference for fewer engagements, the relief found in simplicity. These were not signs of fragility. They were signs of efficiency. Efficiency is not loud. It does not announce itself. It reveals itself through sustainability, through the ability to remain clear over time, through reduced burnout, through steadiness rather than fluctuation. Introversion, at its core, is not about having less energy. It is about using energy carefully. And when that care is respected, the system remains balanced, capable, and quietly strong. This perspective leads naturally to the next stage. Because once conservation becomes familiar, preference begins to solidify. Patterns repeat. Neural pathways strengthen. What once felt situational begins to feel stable, not because change is impossible, but because the system has learned what works, and it tends to keep it. As energy conservation becomes familiar, the nervous system begins to rely on it, not as a rule, not as a belief, but as a pattern that has proven reliable. Each time balance is restored through quiet, the system takes note. Each time overstimulation leads to fatigue, the lesson is reinforced. Over time, these outcomes shape expectation. This is how preference begins to solidify. In neuroscience, repeated experiences strengthen neural pathways. When a particular response consistently leads to regulation, the brain learns to favor it. This process does not require conscious thought. It happens automatically, beneath awareness. The nervous system is constantly updating its predictions. It learns what environments feel sustainable, what levels of stimulation can be maintained without cost, what conditions support clarity rather than strain. When the same answer appears again and again, the system stops questioning it. Quiet works. Excess drains. Balance returns more easily when demand is reduced. This does not mean novelty disappears. It means novelty is approached selectively. Introverted individuals often remain curious, interested, and engaged with the world. But engagement becomes intentional rather than constant. Input is chosen rather than absorbed indiscriminately. This selectivity is not withdrawal. It is refinement. As preferences solidify, they begin to feel less situational and more characteristic. Not because the person has changed dramatically, but because the nervous system has stopped experimenting. It has found a reliable operating range. Research in learning and neuroplasticity shows that the brain favors efficiency. Once a strategy produces stable outcomes, it becomes the default. Alternative strategies are not eliminated, but they are used less frequently. This is why introversion often feels consistent across time. Different jobs, different relationships, different environments. The details change, but the preference remains. This stability can be misunderstood as inflexibility. In reality, the system is flexible when needed. It can engage intensely. It can tolerate stimulation. It can operate outside its comfort zone for meaningful reasons. But it no longer does so unnecessarily. The nervous system has learned where its strength lies. It knows how much it can give without cost. It recognizes the point where effort stops being productive. This recognition brings a sense of ease. Decisions become simpler. Boundaries become clearer. Recovery is built into daily life rather than postponed. For many people, this is when introversion begins to feel like identity. Not because a label was chosen, but because the pattern has repeated so consistently that it feels intrinsic. I've always been this way. This is just how I function. This works for me. These statements reflect learning, not limitation. The brain is designed to stabilize around what preserves function. It does not seek discomfort for its own sake. It seeks balance. Neural pathways associated with preferred regulation grow stronger with use. Those associated with overload weaken through disuse. This does not lock the system into a single mode. It simply sets a baseline. When conditions are familiar and predictable, the preferred pattern dominates. When conditions demand adaptation, the system can respond. But once demand passes, it returns to what it knows restores balance. This is why introversion often feels more pronounced with age. Not because tolerance has decreased, but because awareness has increased. The system no longer ignores its own signals. It no longer experiments unnecessarily. It trusts its learning. This trust brings confidence, not the loud kind, the quiet kind that comes from knowing what works. There is less internal debate, less self-correction, less pressure to perform against instinct. Preference solidification allows energy to be spent on meaningful engagement rather than constant adjustment. Life becomes smoother, not because stimulation is avoided entirely, but because it is chosen carefully. This is an important distinction. Introversion is not the absence of growth. It is growth that is settled. The nervous system has learned its rhythm. It has discovered its sustainable pace. It has stopped chasing environments that demand more than they return. This settling is not stagnation. It is alignment. And alignment often looks like stability from the outside. Understanding this helps remove the idea that introversion is something temporary or situational. It explains why it persists, why it feels natural, why it remains even when circumstances change. The system has tested the alternatives. It has compared outcomes, and it has chosen what allows it to remain whole. That choice does not need to be justified. It does not need to be outgrown. It simply reflects a nervous system that learned through experience how to function well. This prepares the ground for the next realization. Because once preference has solidified, many people are told it should still change, that it is a phase. that it will pass, that it needs correction, and that expectation deserves examination too. Once preference has settled, it often encounters a familiar assumption that it will change, that it is temporary, that it belongs to a particular stage of life, that with enough exposure, confidence, or effort, it will eventually fade. Introversion is often treated this way, as something people grow out of, as a response to circumstance rather than a stable pattern. But research does not support this idea. Longitudinal studies in psychology show that core personality traits remain relatively stable across the lifespan. While behavior adapts to context, underlying temperament tends to persist. Introversion does not dissolve with age, success, or familiarity. It remains. This stability does not mean rigidity. People change jobs. They enter relationships. They take on responsibilities. They develop skills. Through all of this, introverted individuals continue to show the same foundational preferences. They still recover best in low stimulation environments. They still reach saturation sooner. They still function most clearly when demand is measured. These patterns may express themselves differently over time. A child who needed quiet play becomes an adult who values calm routines. A student who preferred independent work becomes a professional who thrives with focused autonomy. The surface changes. The rhythm remains. This is why many people experience frustration when they are told to wait for introversion to pass. They may push themselves toward constant engagement, expecting adaptation to occur. They may assume that discomfort means growth. They may interpret fatigue as a sign of weakness. When the preference persists, confusion follows. But persistence does not indicate failure to change. It indicates accuracy. The nervous system is not resisting growth. It is maintaining regulation. Research on personality development shows that while traits can soften at the edges, they do not reverse direction entirely. Introverted individuals may become more socially skilled. They may become more confident in expression. They may tolerate stimulation more effectively. But their baseline preference remains intact. They still need recovery. They still value depth over breadth. They still conserve energy carefully. This persistence is often misinterpreted as stagnation. In reality, it reflects a stable operating system. The nervous system has learned what works. It does not abandon that learning simply because circumstances change. Introversion persists because it is functional. It continues to support balance. It continues to prevent overload. It continues to allow clarity to return. If it did not serve a purpose, it would fade. Biological systems do not maintain inefficient patterns. They adapt toward sustainability. The idea that introversion is a phase often comes from environments that reward one style of engagement over others. When quiet functioning is undervalued, it is framed as incomplete. But persistence does not require justification. Many aspects of personality remain stable without being questioned. Preferences for routine, tolerance for risk, sensitivity to emotion. Introversion belongs in this category. It is not something waiting to be replaced. It is not an obstacle to overcome. It is not an immaturity that time corrects. It is a trait that continues because it works. This understanding can be grounding. It removes the pressure to become someone else. It reduces the urge to force adaptation. It allows effort to be directed toward alignment rather than resistance. Introverted individuals do not need to become louder with time. They do not need to seek more stimulation to prove growth. They do not need to outgrow their preferences. Growth does not require abandoning regulation. Growth can happen within stability. As this realization settles, the question changes. Not when will this go away, but how can this be honored? And that question opens the door to something important. Because introversion does not limit social capacity. It shapes it. Connection still happens. Meaningful relationships still form. They simply follow a different pattern, one built on depth rather than volume. And that is where this exploration leads next. Once the expectation of change is removed, another assumption often softens as well. That introversion limits connection. Because introverted individuals engage differently, their social lives are often judged by the wrong measure. Breadth is counted instead of depth. Frequency is mistaken for closeness. Visibility is confused with intimacy. But social capacity does not depend on quantity. It depends on quality. Introverted nervous systems often allocate social energy selectively, not because connection is unimportant, but because it carries weight. Social interaction requires attention, emotional tracking, and responsiveness. For systems that process deeply, this investment is significant. As a result, it is rarely spread thin. Instead, it is focused. This focus often leads to fewer connections, but stronger ones. Relationships are built slowly. Trust develops through consistency rather than intensity. Time together feels meaningful rather than performative. Research in social psychology supports this pattern. Introverted individuals often report greater satisfaction in close, one-on-one relationships. They tend to prioritize emotional depth over social breadth. The number of connections matters less than the stability within them. This does not indicate limited social ability. It reflects intentional distribution of energy. When social engagement is paced and chosen, presence deepens. Listening becomes attentive rather than distracted. Responses feel thoughtful rather than automatic. For many introverted individuals, this style of connection feels natural. Large groups may dilute attention. Constant social availability may fragment presence. Smaller settings allow engagement to remain whole. This is why introverted people often feel most socially fulfilled in quiet conversations. Shared silence, familiar routines, moments that do not require performance. These experiences may not register as socially impressive from the outside, but they often carry more meaning than constant interaction. Quiet social capacity also supports longevity. Relationships that are nurtured steadily tend to endure. They are less dependent on momentum. They do not require constant reinforcement to remain intact. Because energy is conserved, connection does not become exhausting. Because boundaries are respected, presence remains genuine. This capacity is often invisible in cultures that reward sociability over intimacy. People who maintain large networks appear socially successful. People who invest deeply in a few relationships may appear limited. But appearance is not accuracy. The nervous system does not measure connection by numbers. It measures it by regulation. When social interaction feels sustainable, it continues. When it feels depleting, it withdraws. Introverted individuals are often highly attuned to this balance. They sense when connection supports well-being. They sense when it drains it. They adjust accordingly. This attunement does not reduce social potential. It refines it. Social energy is invested where it can be returned. Attention is offered where it can be held. Care is given where it can deepen. This creates relationships that feel safe rather than stimulating, grounded rather than intense, reliable rather than consuming. Quiet social capacity is not about needing less connection. It is about needing the right kind. The kind that allows presence without strain. The kind that does not require constant explanation. The kind that fits the rhythm of the nervous system rather than disrupting it. Understanding this reframes introversion once again. It is not social deficiency. It is social precision. A system that values depth over display, continuity over novelty, meaning over volume. And when this capacity is recognized, the idea that introversion limits connection loses its hold. Connection is not missing. It is simply shaped differently. And in that shape, many introverted individuals find something rare. Relationships that feel nourishing rather than exhausting. Social bonds that support regulation instead of competing with it. A form of belonging that does not require becoming someone else. This quiet legitimacy matters because it affirms that introversion does not reduce social life. It defines it. And when it is understood on its own terms, it stands complete. As social capacity becomes clearer, another distinction often needs space to settle. Being alone is not the same as being lonely. These two experiences are frequently grouped together, treated as interchangeable. But within the nervous system, they register very differently. Loneliness is marked by distress. It involves a sense of absence, a feeling that something needed is missing. The nervous system interprets loneliness as a signal. Connection is desired, but unavailable. Support is needed, but not present. This state activates stress responses. Attention turns outward in search of relief. Emotional discomfort increases. Solitude does not carry this signal. When solitude is chosen, the nervous system does not scan for threat or loss. There is no urgency, no sense of deprivation. Instead, the system settles. Neuroscience shows that solitude and loneliness activate different neural patterns. Loneliness is associated with heightened vigilance and stress-related activity. Chosen solitude, by contrast, often correlates with increased parasympathetic regulation and emotional stability. The body knows the difference. For many introverted individuals, being alone feels neutral or positive, not empty, not sad, simply quiet. This quiet allows regulation to continue uninterrupted. Attention softens. Energy stabilizes. Internal processes resume their natural pace. This experience can be difficult to explain to others. From the outside, alone time is often assumed to be compensatory, a response to lack, a substitute for connection. But internally, it may feel complete. Solitude does not mean connection is unwanted. It means connection has already occurred. and now recovery is happening. This is why introverted individuals may feel socially fulfilled even when spending long periods alone. Their social needs have been met. Their nervous system is not signaling for more. Loneliness, by contrast, feels restless. There is a pull outward, a sense of incompletion, an awareness of unmet need. Introverted individuals experience loneliness too. They are not immune to it, but when they are alone by choice, loneliness is often absent. This distinction matters. When solitude is mistaken for loneliness, introverted preferences are framed as problematic. People may be encouraged to seek interaction unnecessarily. They may be urged to fill space that does not feel empty. This can disrupt regulation rather than improve well-being. Research shows that chosen solitude can support emotional health. It allows reflection. It reduces cognitive load. It supports integration of experience. These benefits appear most strongly when solitude aligns with temperament. For introverted nervous systems, alone time is often where balance returns most efficiently. The absence of social demand is not experienced as loss. It is experienced as relief. Understanding this difference reframes many behaviors. The desire to be alone after social time, the preference for quiet evenings, the comfort found in independent routines. These are not signs of isolation. They are signs of completion. Solitude, in this context, is not a gap waiting to be filled. It is a state that feels whole. Loneliness asks for connection. Solitude allows recovery. When this distinction is respected, pressure eases. There is no need to justify alone time as productive or necessary. There is no need to frame it as temporary or compensatory. It simply serves its purpose. For many introverted individuals, solitude is not something endured. It is something returned to, a place where the nervous system rests without distress, where balance is maintained rather than repaired, where quiet does not feel empty, but complete. This understanding removes a powerful source of misunderstanding. It allows alone time to exist without apology. It separates absence from deprivation. It restores accuracy to how introversion is interpreted. And once solitude is understood as neutral or nourishing, another layer becomes possible. Because regulation does not always need explanation. Sometimes, the body knows what it needs long before words arrive. And that knowing deserves trust. Once solitude is understood as distinct from loneliness, another quiet truth begins to surface. Not every need requires explanation. The nervous system often knows what restores balance before the conscious mind can articulate why. This is how regulation works. Long before reasoning enters awareness, the body registers shifts in state. It senses when stimulation has crossed a threshold. It recognizes when quiet will help. It moves toward what stabilizes without needing language to justify the choice. This process is not deliberate, it is automatic. Neuroscience shows that regulation frequently occurs beneath conscious awareness. Physiological systems adjust continuously, responding to input, load, and recovery without waiting for interpretation. The body acts first. Understanding follows later, if it arrives at all. For many introverted individuals, this means choosing stillness without a narrative attached. The desire to leave early. The pull towards silence. the need to step back. These choices often appear suddenly and clearly without analysis, and yet they are accurate. They reflect information the body has already processed. Signals of fatigue, markers of saturation, indicators that balance is beginning to slip. When these signals are trusted, regulation happens smoothly. When they are questioned, overridden, or explained away, strain increases. This is where many introverted individuals encounter pressure. They may feel asked to justify their preferences, to explain why they need space, to rationalize their limits. But regulation does not require permission. The nervous system does not need a reason to function well. It does not wait for consensus. It responds to state. This is why explanations often feel insufficient. Words struggle to capture internal signals. Descriptions feel incomplete. Justifications feel forced. Not because the need is unclear, but because it did not originate in language. The body recognized imbalance and moved toward correction. Over time, many people learn to override this knowing. They stay engaged longer than is sustainable. They suppress the urge to withdraw. They delay recovery until symptoms appear. This does not strengthen regulation. It weakens it. When early signals are ignored, the body must speak louder later. Fatigue deepens. Irritability increases. Clarity fades. Trusting regulation earlier prevents escalation. This trust is not indulgence, it is accuracy. Research on self-regulation shows that early, subtle adjustments are more effective than delayed correction. Small reductions in demand prevent larger disruptions later. Gentle withdrawal maintains balance more efficiently than forced endurance. For introverted nervous systems, this means allowing regulation to happen without overthinking. Quiet does not need to be productive to be valid. Alone time does not need to be justified. Stillness does not need to serve a visible purpose. It serves the system. When this understanding settles, a sense of ease often follows. Choices feel simpler. Boundaries feel clearer. The need to explain diminishes. Regulation becomes something that happens naturally, rather than something that must be defended. This shift restores trust in internal signals. The body is no longer treated as unreliable. Its preferences are no longer framed as inconvenient. Its cues are respected as information. This respect reduces internal conflict. Energy is not spent questioning instinct. Attention is not diverted towards self-correction. Regulation happens quietly, efficiently, and without friction. This does not mean reasoning disappears. Understanding can still be helpful. Reflection can still occur. But explanation is no longer required for permission. The body knows when it needs quiet. It knows when stimulation has been enough. It knows when balance is returning. Allowing this knowing to guide behavior does not reduce autonomy. It enhances it. Autonomy does not come from overriding regulation. It comes from aligning with it. As this alignment becomes familiar, the story around introversion shifts again. There is less need to defend, less need to fix, less need to perform adjustment for others. What once felt like something that needed explanation begins to feel self-evident. Quiet works, reduction restores, balance returns, and that truth does not need to be argued. It simply continues steadily beneath the surface. This prepares the ground for the final reframing. Because when regulation is understood and trusted, the idea that introversion is a flaw becomes increasingly difficult to sustain. What once looked like absence reveals itself as structure, and that structure has been supporting function all along. Once regulation is trusted, the idea of introversion as a flaw begins to loosen on its own, because flaws disrupt function. They interfere with stability. They create breakdown. Introversion does none of these things. Research consistently shows that introversion does not predict dysfunction. It does not correlate with poor mental health, low intelligence, or reduced capacity. It does not indicate social failure or emotional weakness. In many cases, it aligns with effective regulation. Systems that operate quietly often do so because quiet is efficient. They reduce unnecessary output. They preserve energy. They maintain clarity over time. This is not absence, it is structure. Many high-functioning systems work this way. In biology, efficient systems avoid waste. They minimize excess movement. They conserve resources. They operate smoothly rather than loudly. The human nervous system is no different. Introverted regulation favors stability over display, continuity over intensity, sustainability over volume. From the outside, this can be misread. What does not announce itself may appear inactive. What does not escalate may appear weak. What does not seek attention may appear incomplete. But function does not require noise. In fact, some of the most reliable systems are the least visible. Introversion often reflects this reliability. Attention remains available rather than scattered. Emotional responses stay proportionate. Energy is spent deliberately rather than reactively. These traits support long-term functioning. When life becomes demanding, systems that conserve energy endure. When stimulation increases, systems that regulate efficiently remain intact. When complexity rises, systems that process deeply adapt without collapse. This is not accidental. If introversion were a flaw, it would fail under pressure. It would collapse under sustained demand. It would produce dysfunction over time. Instead, many introverted individuals remain steady, where others burn out. This steadiness is rarely celebrated, but it is real. The flaw narrative persists because absence is easier to notice than structure, because quiet does not advertise its purpose, because restraint does not demand recognition. But when outcomes are examined rather than appearances, the picture changes. Work gets done, relationships endure, meaning accumulates. Nothing essential is missing. Introversion does not remove capacity, it redistributes it. Energy that might be spent on constant expression is redirected toward integration. Attention that might be scattered across many interactions is focused deeply. Effort that might be wasted on overload is preserved for what matters. This redistribution is functional. It allows systems to operate within sustainable limits. It reduces wear. It prevents breakdown. From this perspective, introversion is not something lacking. It is something organized. Organized around recovery. Organized around precision. Organized around balance. What once looked like absence reveals itself as intention. not conscious intention, physiological intention. The nervous system is structured to function this way. When this is understood, the impulse to fix introversion fades. There is nothing to repair, nothing to compensate for, nothing to overcome. There is only a pattern that has been working quietly all along. The flaw was never in the trait itself. It was in the story told about it. A story shaped by visibility rather than function, by output rather than sustainability, by noise rather than stability. When that story dissolves, introversion stands complete, not as a limitation, but as a form that holds, a form that endures, a form that supports function without asking for attention. And when this reframing settles, the need to defend introversion disappears. Because what works does not need justification. It only needs to continue. And it has been doing that, quietly, for a very long time. Once the idea of flaw dissolves, what remains is continuity. Not a conclusion, not a resolution, just a steady baseline that no longer needs to rise or fall. When regulation is stable, vigilance decreases. The nervous system no longer scans for correction. There is no urgency to adjust, improve, or compensate. Familiar states require less effort. This is a well-established principle in neuroscience. When patterns are predictable and supportive, the brain expends fewer resources maintaining them. Attention relaxes. Energy stabilizes. The system rests without shutting down. For introverted nervous systems, this steadiness often feels like quiet. Not silence in the dramatic sense, but a lack of internal friction. Thoughts move at a natural pace. Emotions settle without being suppressed. The body feels neither activated nor withdrawn. This is not disengagement. It is equilibrium. Because nothing is being forced, nothing needs to be defended. Social interaction can happen without overextension. Solitude can occur without explanation. Movement between states feels smooth rather than corrective. This continuity often goes unnoticed. It does not announce itself. It does not peak. It does not demand interpretation. But it supports everything else. Work feels manageable because energy has not been drained. Connection feels possible because regulation is intact. Rest arrives naturally because it has not been postponed. In this state, introversion no longer feels like a trait being managed. It feels like a background rhythm, something steady enough to disappear from attention. The nervous system is no longer reacting to mismatch. It is no longer compensating for excess. It is simply operating within its own range. This reduces internal monitoring. There is less checking in, less self-evaluation, less wondering whether something should be different. Stable regulation does not require commentary. It continues quietly, moment by moment, without escalation. This is why introversion often becomes less noticeable to the person living it over time. Not because it has faded, but because it no longer creates friction. What once stood out as difference now feels ordinary. What once required explanation now feels self-evident. The system has settled into a familiar state that does not demand energy to maintain. That familiarity brings ease, not excitement, not relief, just steadiness. And in that steadiness, there is space. Space for thought without pressure. Space for connection without depletion. Space for rest without justification. Nothing is being fixed here. Nothing is being optimized. The system is simply continuing in the way that supports it best. Quiet continuity does not seek an endpoint. It does not build toward change. It does not promise transformation. It allows what has already been learned to remain in place. Stable, sufficient, unremarkable in the best way. And as this steadiness holds, there is nothing left to add. No instruction waiting, no correction pending. Just a system moving forward without strain, which brings this exploration gently toward its close. Not with emphasis, but with stillness. At the end of all this, there is nothing waiting to be changed. No adjustment required, no improvement needed, no version of yourself that must arrive later. What has been described has already been happening. Quiet preference, measured engagement, recovery through stillness, depth over volume. None of it appeared by accident. None of it needs repair. The nervous system has been doing what it knows how to do. Maintaining balance, reducing strain, preserving clarity. There is no missing piece. Introversion does not point toward a future state where something finally becomes right. It reflects a present state that has been right all along. When stimulation recedes, the system settles. When quiet appears, effort decreases. When familiarity returns, vigilance fades. This is not a strategy. It is a condition. Nothing needs to be explained here. Nothing needs to be defended. Stillness does not require meaning to be valid. Silence does not need purpose to be complete. The body has already recognized what works. There is no final insight to apply, no lesson to carry forward, only continuity. The same rhythm that has supported you before continues now. The same preferences remain intact. The same balance holds without effort. What once felt like difference no longer needs a label. What once felt like absence no longer needs filling. There is simply a way of being that does not strain. Nothing is being withheld. Nothing is being avoided. Everything necessary is already present. And because there is nothing to correct, nothing needs to be done. The system can remain as it is. Quiet, stable, sufficient.